Welcome back everybody to the Wandering Samurai Study, in which we review and analyze every single act told in Rurouni Kenshin, and today's act is Act 39, Clash, the end of Volume 5. Getting around to covering this act was a bit interesting because I don't normally procrastinate so much to film a video. Ordinarily, my work process is that I have a deadline by the end of each week to get a video done for the Wandering Samurai Study. And at the beginning of the week, I read this act, I finished it, and I put it down and I sat on it for a good 4 days before I actually picked it back up. Because I felt like there wasn't really a whole lot to talk about. When I read it initially, I felt like the pages flew. And when the act was over, I was left thinking like, that's it. There's a whole lot of action in this act, and it's fine. But I was worried that there wasn't going to be a whole lot to talk about. But I reread it again and I found some stuff to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into the chapter summary review and we'll get into those talking points. Kaoru and Yutaro continue their conversation about possibly joining the Kamiya Dojo when 4 of Raijuta's men ambush the dojo. They request Kenshin join Shinko Ryu, and Kenshin declines once again. The men were ordered to kill Kenshin if he were to decline. So 3 of the 4 men launch at Kenshin and he easily takes down 2 of them. The 4th man has his go at Kenshin and Kenshin takes him down too. The last man standing makes a run for it, but Sanosuke stops him on the way out. Kenshin has Sanosuke let him out on the condition that he tells Raijuta to fight him himself or to leave him alone entirely. The entire time Yutaro witnessed Kenshin's strength in awe. So the first thing that I really liked about this act is that Kenshin immediately knew that these men were part of the Shinko Ryu just based off the hats that they were wearing. When they come in, their faces aren't immediately shown, but you can see that all 4 of them are wearing these very old school Japanese-esque style hats. With that, like, it shows that Shinko Ryu has at least some type of iconography in the works, even if it's not as fleshed out as, say, the Shinsengumi, that immediately when you see those light blue colors, you know that it's Shinsengumi, even in other anime and stuff. This is a good start for the Shinko Ryu. I like the hats themselves. I've always thought that those were really cool hats. Now, I'm not sure if this is intended, but the hats that these men are wearing are very similar to the hats that the men in the Kenshin opening are wearing during the fight scene before Kenshin is seen walking to the Kamiya Dojo and meeting his friends. It makes me wonder if it's possible that during the early production of the anime, if it was possible that these men were gonna be in the anime, like when they were still covering all of the early volume stuff. Like maybe the Shinko Ryu were gonna be a much bigger role in the anime than what we actually got. But I also feel kind of doubtful, as you can see Saito and Raijuta in the very beginning of the opening. So who knows? Honestly, it's just one of those like things that I kind of wonder when I notice these hats, and since Kenshin paid attention to the hats kind of mean something. But as far as these men go, I think that it's very showing of how kind of Shinko Ryu works, just based off of how quickly they attacked Kenshin. Because as soon as Kenshin declined and the men recognized that Kenshin declined, they struck. They struck in the same way that Raijuta struck, where it's a force going down. Like, with these men though, I think that we can tell where they lay on the totem pole between strength. The 2 men that are taken down as soon as Kenshin declines are the medium strength men of the group, because they're kind of like, they're in the middle. They can be easily taken down and we don't need to know their names, or we don't need to know anything about them. And really, these 4 men, we don't know anything about them. They don't give us names or anything. As far as we know, they're very disposable. But the 2 men that are taken down at the same time, those are the guys that are in the middle. The guy that is talking the most, technically the 4th man that didn't go after Kenshin, he's the leader. I'm guessing that he's supposed to be the strongest one, because he's the one that's talking the most. He recognizes Kenshin's strength. He says that he can see why Raijuta said that he needed to be taken down if he declined to join Shinko-ryu. Meaning that he's the one that's leading the ambush, or he's leading the mission, and he's technically the last one to go down. Now, the weakest one is the one that took off running. The one that is stopped by Sanosuke. The one that Kenshin told that he needs to go tell Raijuta to come face him himself. I think that we can point this man out as being the weakest because he did not go full in on fighting or attacking Kenshin. As soon as he seen Kenshin's strength, he was paralyzed by Kenshin's ability. And he kind of like did a strike, but then he stops. And he just stays there watching, witnessing everything that's going on. Seeing Kenshin take down the big guy. And then seeing Kenshin take down another one, the first guy just as easily. And then seeing the leader of the group, the one that's talking the most, go down just as easily. Another clue that we can tell that this guy is the weakest is because he completely lost his will to fight. Now, I also really like that Kenshin allowed this man to leave even though Sanosuke was ready to kind of pummel him and get in on the fun. Because he says that a man who no longer has the will to fight, it's not even worth pursuing. So it's another example of Kenshin's pacifism being displayed here, which is just nice. But it's also like, here's a response to Raijuta, now go. And so with this man taking off, it like kind of just points out a flaw in all of this. What is the point of these men fighting Kenshin? Why did Raijuta send them? Now, I have a possible theory as to what it is, and now assuming that Raijuta isn't naive, and he didn't actually believe that these men can actually take down Kenshin, my guess is that these men were kind of used as pawns to test out Kenshin's strength, to see if Kenshin is actually worth Shinko-ryu. Now, Raijuta being a swordsman, I have to believe that there's a part of him that itches to fight Kenshin himself. So I don't understand why he would want to send these underlings to go after him. But that's all assuming that Raijuta isn't naive. Now, if Raijuta was naive, and he actually thought that these men were capable of fighting or killing Kenshin, then that would have been the end of it, right? I don't know, I just don't really know how to wrap my head around all of this, and I'm struggling a lot. But the truth of the matter, the whole reason that this act exists in the first place is to show Yutaro Kenshin's strength, the power that Kenshin wields, his ability to be able to take down 4 of his sensei's men like nothing. And to have Yutaro recall Yahiko's words in the previous act, that Kenshin wasn't showing even half of his strength. Now, the reason that I think Watsuki decided to take this direction with Yutaro is to kind of like spice up the drama a little bit. To have Yutaro kind of question his loyalties to his sensei. To have Yutaro meet these group of people that are gentle, these group of people that are considerably nice and are actually interested in showing Yutaro how to wield a sword and actually get into Kenjutsu despite it not being real swords. And to show us that these group of people are not interested in taking something from Yutaro, but instead offering to give him something. Also to kind of have Yutaro bridge the gap between his sensei and the lack of training that his sensei has not offered him. To have Yutaro kind of come to terms that his sensei, Raijuta, does not have any actual interest in Yutaro himself. It's all leading to that. And this act, it really just is more about Yutaro, because Yutaro is witnessing Kenshin's fight throughout the entire act. And that's all really the whole point of this act, more so than the actual man coming to fight Kenshin. And that brings us to the end of Act 39, Clash. If you like this video and you want to see more, then consider subscribing to the channel and give a thumbs up and comment down below something that you liked about this act. What do you think about Yutaro's on? What did you think about my dissection of who's the strongest and who's the weakest of the group, and how the middlemen aren't really that important? Let me know something down below, and I'm happy to talk to anybody in the comments. I'll see you guys in Act 40 and the beginning of Volume 6 and the beginning of the end of the Raijuta stuff. I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Bye, ciao.